Toyota announced that CEO Koji Sato will step down and be replaced by Chief Financial Officer Kenta Kon.
And the other one was a Bugatti Chiron Sport out in Miami.
That is so sick.
We later found that the Bugatti, it was impossible to buy parts directly from them.
Bugatti locked the doors. Ferrari never even picked up the phone. Yet Matt Armstrong, a man who once repaired cars between restaurant shifts, kept building anyway. Now, something unexpected is happening behind closed doors. One of the world's largest automakers has been watching Matt's every move. And what they just put on the table makes Bugatti and Ferrari's response look not just embarrassing, but completely irrelevant. This is not a sponsorship. This is not a PR stunt. This is a deal that no independent creator has ever been offered. And the reason it happened reveals something far bigger about where the entire automotive world is heading. Stay with us, because the evidence speaks for itself. And the truth is more surprising than the headline. Bugatti said no, he fixed it anyway. Nothing put Matt Armstrong on the world's radar quite like the Bugatti Chiron Sport rebuild. And nothing revealed more clearly what kind of person he actually is. The car belonged to American content creator Alex Gonzalez. He had crashed his Chiron Sport and been paid out by insurance.
I crashed this Bugatti. Obviously, I go through insurance to go make a claim. Hey, I got into an accident. Can you guys pay me out of my car?
He then bought the car back from the Copart auction for approximately $1.9 million, a significant discount from its intact value of $4 to $4.5 million. Only 60 Chiron Sports were ever built. Every one destroyed is a permanent reduction in the total number that will ever exist. This was not just a wrecked car. It was one of the rarest machines on the planet. And it was sitting in pieces. Alex asked Matt to take on the rebuild. The damage was severe, worse than the photos suggested, and the photos were already bad. The entire front end was destroyed. The gearbox had suffered major damage. Transmission mounts had huge tears, not minor cracks. Airbags had deployed throughout the cabin. Carbon fiber panels that cost tens of thousands of dollars each on a new car, were cracked beyond repair. Headlights were gone. There was structural frame damage running through multiple sections of the car. Almost nothing had been left untouched by the impact. Bugatti flew a technician from France to inspect the vehicle in person. Their verdict was delivered quickly: total loss. Their quote for a full factory restoration came to approximately $1.7 million in parts alone, almost equal to what Alex had paid for the entire wreck at auction. Effectively, Bugatti was telling him, "Pay us nearly what you already spent, just to get the parts."
Bugatti quoted me $1.7 million to fix my car. $1.7 million to fix my car, right? Okay.
When Alex declined that offer, Bugatti made a decision that turned a complicated rebuild into an international story. They locked the car's VIN in their global dealer system. Every single Bugatti dealership anywhere in the world was now blocked from selling any official parts for this specific vehicle. Not slowed down, not restricted, completely blocked. The car had been blacklisted by its own manufacturer, frozen out of the very network that existed to support it. Most people facing that wall would have stopped. Matt flew to Miami and started working on the car anyway. Immediately on arrival, a separate accident happened. A vehicle hit a Ferrari, being driven by one of his team members during transport. Several $1,000s gone.
This car has been through everything. It originally crashed in Cyprus, and that's where we went to collect it. But even at that moment, we couldn't get the car started.
Before the actual rebuild had even begun. It was the kind of start that tells you exactly what kind of project this was going to be. The Bugatti parts freeze forced the team to think differently at every stage. They used CNC machining to recreate components that could not be bought. They 3D scanned damaged parts, built replacement CAD models from those scans, and then fabricated new pieces from scratch. Every solution required more time, more cost, and more creative thinking than a standard rebuild. There was no official manual for what they were doing, because no one was supposed to be doing it. Along the way, Matt discovered something that stopped him mid-sentence on camera. Certain airbag components inside the Chiron, a car priced at over $3 million new share part numbers, with components used in the Audi A3, a family hatchback. That single detail cuts through years of hypercar mythology in one moment. It does not make the Chiron less impressive, but it does say something very specific about how exclusivity is built, packaged, and sold in the automotive world, and how thin the line between ordinary and extraordinary sometimes actually is. Then Mate Rimac, the CEO of Bugatti Rimac, did something nobody expected. He made a video on his personal social media channel specifically responding to Matt's build. He explained the company's safety concerns around private structural repairs on a car of this engineering complexity. He acknowledged that a fair offer had been made and declined, and then he said plainly, without any apparent bitterness, that he personally enjoyed watching Matt's content and held him in genuine high regard as a creator. The CEO of Bugatti was not just aware of Matt Armstrong, he respected him enough to respond directly. Matt addressed it in his own video. He said, with obvious disbelief, that he had never expected this level of attention from a manufacturer of that scale. He was not trying to start a fight. He simply wanted a way to rebuild the car that did not cost nearly as much as buying a new one. And, regardless of what anyone said, he was going to finish what he started. The blacklist cracked when Alex threatened to manufacture replacement parts using 3D printing technology, making it clear to Bugatti that their parts lock was not as final as they had presented it. The exclusivity they had counted on as leverage was not unbreakable. Footballers crashed Rolls and a German founder's call. Before the Bugatti battle, there was a project that first showed the automotive world that Matt Armstrong was someone worth paying attention to. In September 2023, Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford crashed his Mansory-tuned Rolls-Royce Wraith Black badge while leaving the club's Carrington training ground on a rainy evening. He hit a car driven by a 4-year-old woman, then struck a light pole on a traffic island.
The pole crashed to the ground just before noon, hitting the 74-year-old woman in the head.
Nobody was seriously injured, and their quoted 40 dies. But the Rolls-Royce, which had originally cost approximately £750,000 and had fewer than 1,000 miles on the clock, was written off by the insurance company. Matt placed the winning bid at auction in early 2024, paying £185,000 for the wreck. He quickly discovered the damage was considerably worse than the auction listing had suggested.
Here's Marcus Rashford's old Rolls-Royce Wraith. Rolls-Royce at auction, we've learnt how expensive Mansory parts are.
The engine would not start. The Mansory-specific body parts required to restore it properly were extraordinarily expensive and difficult to source. He ended up buying an entire second Rolls-Royce Wraith as a donor car, purely to access affordable original manufacturer parts, adding another £90,000 to his total investment. By the time the car was fully restored and road-ready, Matt had spent over £400,000 across the purchase price, the donor car, the Mansory replacement parts, and labor costs. He had invested more than half the cost of a brand new version of the same car in bringing back one that had been declared a total loss. There was also a security protection system built into the vehicle, locked through the insurance claim process, that prevented the car from being started through normal means. Then, something unexpected happened. Rashford's management team, who had been watching the project develop on Matt's channel, reached out directly. They provided the security code. They sent over spare parts from their own storage, a spare key, Mansory floor mats, a Mansory grille surround, and various original accessories. They told Matt they were glad someone was taking care of the car. When the car was running and roadworthy, Courage Mansory, the actual founder of the German tuning company whose work Matt had spent months trying to replicate, heard the project was complete and that Matt was traveling through Europe with the car. He invited Matt to bring the Rolls-Royce to Mansory's headquarters in Germany. The road trip that followed started in Spain at the Circuito de Navarra racing circuit, moved through Monaco, where someone dropped a moped into the car's rear bumper at a petrol station, then continued through Switzerland before arriving in Germany. Courage Mansory inspected the car. He described certain aspects of the restoration using the word that translates most directly as wrong. Then, he spent the night correcting those aspects at no charge. He replaced wheels that had been damaged in the original crash, realigned panels, and added the specific branded details Matt had not been able to source during the rebuild. Matt drove home from Germany in a Rolls-Royce that now carried the explicit approval of the man who had originally created it. That is not a standard ending to a crashed car restoration project. That kind of outcome only happens when the quality of the work and the authenticity of the storytelling around it attract people who had no initial reason to be involved. And someone much larger was watching all of it very carefully. From dishwashing to 6 million subscribers. Matt Armstrong did not grow up rich. He did not come from a family of engineers or racing drivers. He grew up in Leicester, England, in a house where the garage was the most important room. His father, Tony, worked on cars constantly.
My dad really enjoys it. He's been a mechanic his whole life and had to deal with customers.
Young Matt would sit close by, watching, handing tools, absorbing everything without being taught formally. There were no textbooks, no YouTube tutorials, just a father working with his hands and a son paying attention. When Matt got older, he did not go straight into cars. He became a professional BMX rider. He competed internationally, France, Germany, Dubai, under a Mad Gear Pro sponsorship. He was good enough to compete at the BMX World Championships. Then, at those very championships, he dislocated his shoulder. The injury did not heal cleanly. The shoulder kept dislocating randomly, without warning, even during sleep. For a sport that demands full-body aerial control, that kind of instability ends everything. Matt's professional BMX career was over before it had fully started. What followed was a period most of his current viewers know nothing about. He worked at Halfords, the large UK retail chain, evening shifts at Evans Cycles, kitchen hours at Spice 45, an Indian restaurant in Leicester, 13-hour days across multiple jobs, trying to stay financially stable while figuring out what came next. He also worked at Graham Good Motors, a Ford performance specialist in Leicester. That job gave him real exposure to higher performance vehicles and sharpened the mechanical knowledge he had been building since childhood. He was not wasting time. He was quietly preparing for something he did not yet know was coming. In April 2013, Matt launched a YouTube channel. The original plan was simple: post BMX content to attract potential sponsors. For years, the channel existed without direction, without a real audience, without a clear identity. Then, his girlfriend, Hannah, crashed her Audi TT Mark II on her way home from work. The insurance company wrote the car off. Matt bought it back for £600. He picked up a GoPro and started filming the repair process. No professional crew, no production budget, just a damaged car, a modest camera, and a man who knew how to explain what he was doing in plain language. That video connected with people in a way that scripted, sponsored, automotive television never quite had. People who understood cars could verify the technical accuracy. People who knew nothing about cars felt like they were learning something real. The channel found its identity. From one wrecked Audi, everything else began to take shape.
Estate car in the world, or wagon if you're American. Now, I would say it's the Audi RS6.
He went full-time on YouTube in late 2019. The decision came down to a choice. Invest £10,000 in a damaged Bentley Continental GT, or use the same money as a property deposit. He chose the Bentley. That build attracted his first major sponsorship deal. It also led to Richard Hammond, the well-known automotive presenter and former Top Gear host, seeing the car and acknowledging it publicly. That single organic endorsement from one of the most recognizable faces in British car culture sent new viewers to the channel in a way no paid promotion could have replicated. From the Bentley, the projects grew, each one more technically complex than the last. The Rashford Rolls-Royce led to Mansory. The Bugatti Chiron led to the CEO of Bugatti Rimac, responding publicly on social media. 6 million subscribers followed one honest, difficult, well-explained project at a time. Why Toyota was already watching. Toyota Gazoo Racing is not a marketing department. It is a genuine performance engineering program that has been operating at the highest levels of global motorsport for years. The racing record alone tells you something. Toyota Gazoo Racing won 5 consecutive 24 hours of Le Mans races from 2018 to 2022. It competes at the top level of the World Rally Championship. It has developed a range of road cars, the GR86, the GR Yaris, and the GR Corolla, that feed directly from the engineering priorities of motorsport into products that ordinary people can buy and drive. The GR Yaris, in particular, was developed specifically to homologate the Yaris WRC program for rally competition. It has become one of the most technically celebrated hot hatches in recent automotive history, not because of marketing, but because its origins are in genuine performance engineering. In 2026, Toyota deepened its Formula One presence significantly by becoming the title sponsor of the Haas F1 team, rebranding the American constructor as the TGR Haas F1 team. The partnership includes technical collaboration through Toyota Gazoo Racing's research and engineering divisions, a dedicated driver development program, and the installation of a personal simulator at the team's UK base in Banbury. Toyota's team principal described the program's goal as developing essential human resources drivers,
the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK team. I'm thrilled to have such an opportunity to work with
engineers, and mechanics to build a sustainable motorsports industry and culture. This is a company thinking on a generational timescale, not a quarterly marketing cycle. And the audience that Toyota needs to reach? With this engineering story? It is the audience that watches 5 0-minute YouTube videos about car restoration at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, because they genuinely want to understand how the thing works. That is exactly the audience Matt Armstrong has built. Across 6 million subscribers. The connection was not accidental. It was inevitable. The deal that floored the industry. The project at the center of this deal begins with a GR10 hybrid. This is the Le Mans hypercar, that Toyota Gazoo Racing has been racing at the top level of endurance competition since 2021. It is powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter V6 petrol engine combined with an electric motor generator unit on the front axle, producing a combined output of over 500 kilowatts, more than 670 horsepower, subject to the balance of performance regulations that govern the class. The hybrid system is not a conventional parallel hybrid of the kind found in road cars. It is a sophisticated energy recovery and deployment system. It captures braking energy, stores it in a battery, and delivers it as additional power through the front axle at the driver's demand, effectively giving the car four-wheel drive under acceleration. Making that system reliable for 24 hours of continuous racing at Le Mans represents some of the most demanding hybrid development currently being done by any manufacturer anywhere in the world. Toyota Gazoo Racing's offer to Matt Armstrong is this: a decommissioned, race-used GR10. Not a display model, not a static exhibit. A real car that has actually completed a race distance, driven at real speed by real racing drivers in real conditions, including through the night, through the rain, on one of motorsport's most punishing circuits. The brief is exactly what Matt Armstrong has built his entire career on. Take it apart, understand it completely, document the process of understanding it, show a global audience what is actually inside one of the most technically sophisticated hybrid racing cars ever built, with the full cooperation and technical support of the engineers who designed and built it. That last part is what Acides suggest changes everything. When Bugatti engaged with Matt's project, they did it from a defensive position, trying to limit what he could do with a car they had already written off.
Projects. That the Bugatti, it was impossible to buy parts directly from them.
When Mansory came into the Rolls-Royce project, they arrived at the end to correct what had been done in their absence. Toyota Gazoo Racing is doing the opposite of both. They are opening the doors from the beginning, inviting a creator who has demonstrated the ability to communicate engineering complexity to a global audience into the absolute core of their most sophisticated work, and trusting him to tell that story honestly and completely. Access to the GR10 means access to the engineers who designed the hybrid powertrain management system, the people who developed the suspension geometry for different circuit conditions, the team who calibrated the aerodynamic package and managed the balance between downforce and drag across the specific demands of the Le Mans circuit. These are not people who give interviews to automotive journalists. They are engineering professionals who work in relative obscurity, while their cars win races and their company takes the credit. Giving Matt Armstrong access to those people, with cameras rolling and an audience of 6 million watching, produces content that does not currently exist anywhere in the automotive landscape, and it makes Bugatti and Ferrari look limited by comparison. Not because those are bad companies, or because their engineering is inferior, but because the approach they have taken toward creators has been either defensive or absent. Bugatti spent months trying to prevent Matt Armstrong from demonstrating that a Chiron could be brought back from destruction. Ferrari has not directly engaged with creator culture at this level in any documented way. Toyota Gazoo Racing is asking Matt to demonstrate that their most advanced machine can be understood, appreciated, and explained to people who have never been inside a motorsport garage in their lives. That is not a defensive position. That is the most confident position a manufacturer can take in relation to its own engineering. This is bigger than one car. The implications of this partnership extend well beyond one car and one channel. The most immediate effect is access not just to the GR10, but to the knowledge system around it, Matt has always been most compelling when he is operating at the edge of his current understanding, working through something that genuinely challenges him, showing the audience the process of figuring it out, rather than the finished result of having already figured it out. A GR10 hybrid racing car will challenge him more comprehensively than anything he has previously encountered.
Toyota's brand new GR10 hypercar, about to take on the new WEC Premier Class,
including the Bugatti Chiron. The hybrid powertrain system alone represents a different category of engineering complexity from anything in his existing body of work. The interplay between internal combustion and electrical systems at racing speeds across a 2-4-hour endurance distance under the constraints of the balance of performance regulations, that is a level of technical depth that could sustain months of content without exhausting the material. For Toyota Gazoo Racing, the value is equally clear. The current standard for automotive creator partnerships is essentially a product placement arrangement dressed in the language of collaboration. A manufacturer provides access to a vehicle. A creator produces content featuring that vehicle. The content performs because the audience trusts the creator. The manufacturer gets brand exposure at a fraction of the cost of traditional advertising. That model produces decent results for both parties and genuinely poor content for the audience, who can usually identify a sponsored video within 30 seconds. What this Toyota Gazoo Racing partnership produces is something different in kind rather than in degree. It produces content that is genuinely impossible to make without the manufacturer's full cooperation. The manufacturer is not buying brand exposure through a creator's existing credibility. They are contributing something irreplaceable to a project that could not exist without them. That is not a sponsorship. That is a genuine creative partnership in the fullest sense of those words. And it sets a standard for what automotive creator partnerships can be, that makes everything that came before it look like what it actually was. Advertising. The automotive world has been watching Matt Armstrong for years without fully understanding what he represents. He is not just a content creator who fixes expensive cars. He is proof that one person with genuine skill, a willingness to fail on camera, and the ability to explain difficult things in simple language can build an audience that the most powerful companies in the world need to reach. The manufacturers that win the next decade of automotive communication will not be the ones with the biggest advertising budgets. They will be the ones willing to trust genuinely skilled, genuinely authentic creators with genuinely interesting access and step back while those creators do what they do. Toyota Gazoo Racing appears to have understood that first. And Matt Armstrong, a man who once spent his evenings washing dishes and his days repairing Fords, is now the person they chose to trust. That is not a small thing. That is the entire story, and it is only just beginning. Matt Armstrong started with a crashed Audi and a GoPro. Bugatti tried to shut him down. Ferrari ignored him, and somehow, none of that stopped him. Now, the CEO of Toyota has come to him not to control the story, but to trust him with it completely. What happens next will not just change Matt's channel. It will change what creator partnerships in the automotive world look like for years to come. If this story hit different, share it with someone who needs to see what it looks like when a person refuses to quit. Like the video, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below which car should Matt take apart next.